Wait, let's try that again. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Etiquette live stream. It's good to see all of you here today. I've got nothing in the background. Let's just, too bright. There we go. How's everyone doing today? My name is Eric, and I'm a teacher. And once upon a time, I used to do live streams, believe it or not. Okay, the camera's there. I'll look at it. Okay, yeah. Everyone, my name is Eric. If you're new here, tell me where you're from, say hi. And today we'll talk about teaching, some things to talk about teaching. And yeah, maybe I'll talk a little bit about what I did today, which was drive very far. And I went to see some cherry blossoms with my beautiful wife. It was quite tiring. I got back a little bit more than an hour ago. It was beautiful. If you want to see what it looks like, you can check it out on my wife's Instagram because I don't post that often. But how's everyone doing? If you have a question about teaching, I'll do my best to answer. It's nice to see you all here today. I know not a lot of people join. I haven't been consistent with the live streams. But I'd like to get back into it eventually. Okay. What else? Yeah. Yeah. Let me give you some background. I started the channel 8 years ago. No, 6 years ago. No, 8 years ago. 7 years ago. I started the channel 7 years ago. And I've been making content for teachers. These days, I do reaction videos of teachers talking about life at school and also the issues that kids get into. We've got our first hello. Marcus, how are you doing? Good morning. Yeah, it's good to see you. I think so. I used to do the live stream. I'm in Korea at the moment, but I'm doing it at this time so I can speak to people in the US and well in the Americas because I know it's very early in the morning there for our Canadian and American and South American friends and Central American friends and anybody who happens to be in that area. Yeah. What else? Yeah, so I've been creating videos for teachers, trying to help teachers. Before AI, I had to write my own scripts, and I used to do for 3 years. I did a live stream every single Sunday, and I missed them, because it was a great chance to talk to teachers. I was also connected on Facebook, but for the past 2 years, my Facebook and my Instagram were hacked and consequently deleted, which is which hurts me dearly. So I don't get that many live viewers anymore. So it doesn't, but eventually I'll start again. Good evening from Australia. It's Bobby. Hi, Bobby. How are you doing? Let's see if I can pin this. Oh, no, I don't want to pin this. And now it's pinned. Sorry, let me unpin this. I used to use this other program where I could show the comments. Okay, let's see. So, Borislav. Oh, Borislav. Okay, Boris, it's Bobby. Hi, Bobby. How is life in Australia, and where in Australia are you? I've been watching. There's a lot of interesting things happening in Australia. I think in Melbourne there was something. I was watching this video about the housing in Melbourne. Well, it's expensive everywhere, but it's really difficult to find. Marcus, nice to meet you again from Argentina. Oh, I would love to go to Argentina. My wife actually, well, she's trying to convince me to have when eventually we have kids. That she should give birth in Argentina because you've got birthright citizenship there, and lots of the passport's quite good, and lots of benefits from if you're a citizen in Argentina. So my wife has been trying to convince me to do that. The only reason I would go is because I've heard many good things about the Argentinian people, and also the beef quality is apparently very good, which is what I would love. Hi from good evening from Nigeria. Excellent. Amazing here. People are quite chill. Kids play a lot, even the older ones, and they are amazingly. A small amount of homework. That's excellent. I'm so happy to hear that. We don't want to push too much on kids these days. Um, yeah, I think more than homework, we should get the kids to play away from computer screens. And I know it's very hypocritical of me to say this, but because I spend so much of my time in front of screens. So today or this weekend, we actually got away. I took my wife to the south of Korea, the south of South Korea, to go and see the cherry blossoms. And it was amazing, very beautiful. We spent a lot of time taking photos and videos, that we can share with people. But, towards the end, I was more like, I really just wanted to take it all in and spend time together. And I think that's something we all actively have to do some more. So, okay, we're going to put away the phones for 30 minutes or an hour. We're just going to walk and talk. Yeah, maybe that's. But you don't want to miss a chance of taking beautiful photos, but you've got to spend a little bit of time just focused on each other. So that's my little takeaway that I've got from there. Also, I'm feeling a little bit under the weather since coming back. It was quite. It was a fun weekend, but very exhausting. And yeah, tomorrow's Monday. Oh, that's also another reason I used to do these live streams on Sundays is to talk to people. I need to fix my skin too. Now I'm not AI. A lot of people were saying, "Oh, Eric's AI." I'm not AI. The technology doesn't exist to replicate whatever is in front of you right now. But yeah, it's fun. Can you share, please, what do you think about primary teachers who have an accent? Um, Here's what I think. I think accents are good. They help students learn more and understand that there are other speakers in the world. If it's not too strong, I think a lot of teachers go into teaching one of two ways. Either, being, feeling ashamed that they have an accent and they try to hide it. And whenever and they would be afraid of anyone bringing it up, saying, "Oh, I wish I didn't have an accent because I'm so ashamed. I'm supposed to be a teacher. My accent's supposed to be good." And then the other side of people who vehemently attack and say, "I will use my accent. I am proud of it. This is who I am." And mm, I lean more towards the side of whatever helps your students the most. And so I like my accent, but it's changed a lot over time. I used to have a very pure British accent when I first started teaching, and then I moved to Korea, and it changed quite a bit, where I pronounce certain words more with an American accent, and it's quite bastardized. So, but I don't mind it. But I try to make myself as clear as possible to my students so that they understand me. And if they like my accent, maybe they can also, imitate some of the things that I say. And when it comes to having a different, a different dialect or a different pronunciation of certain things, I would tell my students, listen, in England, they're going to say tomato. And in Korea, they've got Konglish, they also say tomato. But in America, they're going to say tomato. And I tell my students, and they find it interesting and they respect that. But if you're going to go into the classroom and tell your students, listen, this is my accent, you're just going to have to get used to it because there are millions of other people in the world, many with accents, most with accents. And you're going to have to, I think that's a wrong mindset. So you always want to do whatever's best for your students. So try and make yourself understandable. And if you have a strong accent, just tell them, explain that that's who you are, but you will do your best to be understandable to your students. Okay, let's see what else. Martin, nice to see you. How are you? You know what? My students were bored in class, and I said, let's go to the cafe downstairs and chat about stuff. They were so happy. nice to get things more relaxed. Yeah, change of place is so nice. Haven't done something like that with my students, just keep them in the class and finish class. But yeah, I think it could be really nice, a change of setting to get them comfortable and feel like, it's real instead of just in the classroom. That's a nice idea. Trip outside. Sorry, guys. I think I've got a cold coming on, so my throat's a bit sore. Martin, so nice to see you, Martin. Guys, by the way, check out Martin's channel, amazing channel, and he's been doing a lot of live streams too, interviewing teachers. I think that's amazing. I used to do that many years ago, but now I just react to videos. It's the cheapest form of content, but for some reason people enjoy it and they watch it. My plan is still to make some more, like I always write down, you won't see it, but I've written down videos that I want to make, especially about teaching certain grammar points and activities to use in the classroom. So that will always be my passion, but I've got certain expenses and I've got to make videos that people watch while I'm creating these courses and the tools for teachers. Rasha, hi. Hello, Eric. I was nervous how to lessen my talking inside the classroom and let students get engaged. Because my school, yes. Okay, Rasha, that's a big problem in school. So how to get your students to talk more, because the teacher talking time is taking up too much time, too much space. Yeah, that's a big issue. I've walked past teachers' classrooms and during classes, and you look inside and you just see the teacher talking non-stop, because they don't know what else to do. They think, well, I'm here to run the show. I'm here. They're looking at me, and they don't want to say, and the kids don't want to talk, so I have to do all the talking. The sign of a successful class is if you walk by and you see the students interacting with each other and the teacher just kind of milling around, and so the kids being engaged with one another, practicing things, especially when it comes to ESL, where the kids are open to speaking and they can feel themselves improving, and it's also a sign that they're comfortable in the classroom, that it's not just the teacher making it all about themselves. Because I don't think all teachers are like that. You might find a few teachers that just love the show and love to be the one everybody looks at, but I think in most cases it's a classroom where the teacher is unsure, they don't know how to handle it, so they just talk the whole time. So ideally, what you want to do is you want to decrease the amount of time that you talk. You can do it in many ways. The first thing is make your students more comfortable with the idea of speaking. And you can do that by getting them to talk with simple topics. So I like to start my classes by asking, when I do roll call, I would ask each student a simple question just to get their voices heard, and then, you're going to do activities that they interact with a partner. So, be that reading a dialogue and then practice it and then saying it out loud. You pick some groups to say it out loud, and then asking them to create their own dialogues, or you can give them some questions that they can give. They can ask a partner. Now, what's very important is to, well, what's it called again? To stack it, to structure it, to what do you call it? Anyway, you guys can tell me in the comments. What is it called again? What is it called when you've got a building and you lay out the base? Come on, what is that word, guys? You want to something. No bad words, please. Come on, give it to me. Construct. No, it's something else. Starts with an F or something. It's on the tip of my tongue. Oh, it's so bad. Come on, give it to me. Terra. Do you think electronic games are genuinely educational? It depends how you use. Scaffold. Thank you, Tara. Are they used foundation? Oh, thank you. There we yeah, foundation, scaffold. That's what. So you scaffold the lesson by getting the students to. So let's say you gave different questions to the students to practice with a partner. You're going to practice it first. You're going to demonstrate it, and you're going to ask a random student to practice it with you. You're going to perhaps give them examples of answers, so that the weaker students have something to cling on to. So often teachers just say, oh, the kids don't talk in my classroom. And I tried giving them activities, but they just stay quiet. It's because they're not laying the foundation. They're not scaffolding the lesson. They're not helping the students, giving them a way out. It's so easy for us to say, oh, you don't learn a language. But if you don't give them options at the start, you're not just going to take a baby and say, okay, baby, talk now. It's like, you've been listening to me for 9 years. I want you to talk. No, we're going to explain things. We're gonna give them options, things to say. So with my students, I will say, what did you do last weekend? And then I would write down, I met my friends. I drank a beer with my friends. I teach university students. It's okay. I went to something. So I would write some examples on the board. And then you'll have the lower level students, using these examples, and I'll fake anger. I'll be like, why are you taking my example? Use your own. And then the higher level students will actually give you a unique answer. But at least you're going to get the students to talk more. You're going to use activities. What's very important is with these activities that the students engage with one another. So yeah, you're going to have mingles, where I say, okay, everyone write down 6 questions, or here are 6 questions. I want you to walk around, ask one student or one each. So they would write down their partner's name and write down the answer. They love that, because they never get a chance to do that. They're just told to do certain things. Yeah, so just get your students engaged. Now, I read this question here by Terra Firma Flavor. Hi, Eric. Do you think electronic games in the classroom are genuinely educationally valuable, or are they ultimately a bit of a gimmick, entertaining but not worth? Yeah, no. I think whatever you can use for the students to engage the students and for them to practice whatever they're learning in an engaging way. I use it. I use some of it. What do I use? Yeah, I use some kind of bomb games, but that's just fun and for the student to break up the flow of the classroom, the rhythm of the classroom. Because if things are boring and the students are doing the same things, then I'm like, okay, everybody stand up. Here's a bomb game. And then I give them a question, that bamboozle. You show a question, and whoever answers can sit down. That makes it real to them. And they don't feel bad if they're like the last one sitting, because I would go to them and say, listen, what number do you want? And they say 5. Okay, there's 5. Answer it for me. But other ways, I know a lot of people use Kahoots, and they try to gamify the classroom. Gamify the classroom. No, I think it's just 100% getting the students to buy in and enjoy what they're learning. If you can do it with some of the activities, everybody's got a way. I mean, you've got amazing teachers using different ways, but I think you can clearly say that the best teachers in the world never needed any electronics. And I hold up to that. They are great teachers. They've got their own personal tools, be it worksheets, or maybe some toys or games, or if it's a great textbook that engages the students with the type of topics, and keeping it real, not just using language that is not useful. That's another thing. Students have to feel like something is meaningful. Like whatever they're learning, they can go out and use it immediately. So by that token, you should be able to get the students to learn things because it's valuable and they feel like they'll be able to use it. Let's see. I don't Oda Yauda. Oda Wauda. Thank you so much for all the comments, guys. I don't consider accent as an important component in learning a language. It is a preference, but it becomes a problem when you stick and make it as an identity for you. You need to be flexible. 100%. Totally agree. Thank you for sharing your opinions. Very good. Exactly. Lessons need to be student centered. Teachers should follow the 80-20. 100%. Yeah, 80-20, whatever works. Because also, you don't want just, if the teacher wasn't there, you still want to bring your heart and your flavor to the lesson. So if you weren't there to engage with your students, they could just as well put a robot up there and just lock the kids down somehow and they would learn. No, you want to bring a little bit of yourself into the lesson. You want to teach, you want to engage, you want to ask questions, you want to make it interesting. Students should be sitting there thinking, oh, Eric's going to ask me a question at any point. But for me, yeah, I'm constantly going through, I'm constantly asking questions to my students. All of them will answer questions multiple times throughout the class, and I'll ask them to perform, and they really enjoy that. Even the shy ones, eventually they get sold on, I'm going to feel good. Eric's not going to make me feel bad. He's going to help me achieve my goals and help me feel better about using whatever language I'm using. So yeah, now 80-20 exactly. Yeah, I guess so. More the students than the teacher, but yes, the teacher will be there. I mispronounce some words. It makes me feel not confident. And this is because when we were the children that started mispronouncing, I'm afraid that teachers determine me as weak. No, it's as with life, it's all about confidence, I guess. I don't know. Maybe people say that. No, it's I make so many mistakes. No, I don't make that so many mistakes. I make some. I might have dabbled in mistakes before. No. No, everybody makes mistakes. It's just how you handle it. If you see, it's an opportunity. Mistakes are an opportunity to grow. If you mispronounce something, like it's embarrassing. It definitely is. But then, if somebody fixes it for you, you're gonna know, you're gonna remember, and the way that you react to the language will also be you're modeling that to your students. So if you're afraid of making mistakes, how will they feel? Their teacher, oh, he's afraid of making mistakes. He gets embarrassed when he mispronounces something. No, you just listen. You're going to improve. Nobody is perfect when they start out. That's one of the biggest problems with new teachers. I remember getting into it and thinking, okay, I am the authority in the classroom. I'm supposed to know everything. If you put yourself, you start teaching, or even if you're 10 or 20 years in, and you tell yourself, well, I am the be all of language teaching. I'm supposed to know everything. You're setting yourself up for failure. If you see yourself as a normal human that's doing their best to help their students, and you're going to do your best to improve each time, every time you make a mistake and you learn from it. If you struggle to explain some grammar, you're going to look it up and you're going to try and explain it better next time. If you mispronounce, you're going to look it up. Ooh, I made a mistake there. Let's do better next time. But don't put yourself down. Yeah, with getting students to speak more is like, reduce your talking time, your TTT, and yeah, ask open-ended questions. Instead of asking, do you like playing football? With lower level students, you're going to ask simple questions. But otherwise, what is your hobby? And or what is the first thing you do when you wake up? Do you wash your face? Do you brush your teeth? Do you say good morning to someone? Open-ended questions. And yeah, scaffold your lessons. Get them, help your students be confident in what they're doing. Very important. Okay, let's see. We've got some more foundation. What are the best materials for speaking lessons? Yeah, if you've got a good book with a grammar that's essential, with questions and topics that they can handle, with fun questions and answers. Yeah, I think that's the best thing you can do, because for speaking, yeah, you can do dialogues and you can do grammar exercises too. You do a lot of grammar exercises where the students have to answer me. And depending on the level of the students, because you've got different classes and different levels of students. If a student is bright, let's say we're learning something, and I say, okay, what is this in the past tense? Okay, they did that right, correctly. Okay, what is the negative? And so if you've gone over the negatives, or you've gone on over how to make questions, make a question for me. Okay. And another thing I like to do is, you create mistakes. So before we were talking about, how teachers should be confident. What I like to do is I like to use ChatGPT or whatever you need to, and make 10 sentences, and there's a mistake in each one, and the students, with a partner, they've got to find the mistakes, and then they've got to read it out loud. So yeah, and I don't think my students are very embarrassed when they make a mistake, because I'm going to help them in a kind way. It's lovely to seek perfection, but no one can be perfect. Yeah, mistakes are part of our lives to be better people. Very true. Oh, thank you so much for the kind words, Oda. And Martin from ELT Experiences. I'm finishing a video about balancing work and life. What's your thoughts about this? For context, I just finished a jam and performance in public. Just one of my favorite ways to relax. Man, Martin, I admire you. So Martin also plays music, saxophone, right? No, what do you play? I think it's saxophone, right? Very impressive. I was never interested in blues or listening to music, but I went to a blues or the saxophone. I know Bill Clinton played one, but I was never really interested in it. I knew it. I was never interested in it. And then I went to, many years ago, I went to like a blues club, and there was a saxophonist, and he was just killing it. And I thought, man, that's a sexy instrument. Very cool. I've never been able to play anything. But yeah, very cool. Life and work balance. What balance? No, I'm newly married. My wife is here with me, and we're both learning, how to use our time. So I love working out. I've got my fitness dancing classes, and I really dislike missing the classes because I can feel myself improving, and I'm a little bit overweight right now, so I still need to lose, I don't know, 5 kilograms. So yeah, I need to lose 5 kilograms, but I'm going to the gym. I go to the gym every morning, and I work the weights for like 15 minutes, and then I do my dance class, and I'm tired. I get home, get ready for work, go to work, and then get home, and then I've still got my YouTube things to work on, and my relationship with my wife, of course, is the most important thing to me. So we spend time together, and I feel so bad because I would leave her alone, and I'll go and work while she's here, and it's very difficult, that work-life balance. And I can only see myself being very busy the next couple of weeks, especially with lots of videos to make and work at uni. Finding balance. Yeah, I think, I don't know if it's about balance, but committing yourself to whatever you're doing instead of just being teaching, and while I'm teaching I'm thinking, well, I need to do this after work and we need to do that. So I just try and focus on being in the moment. And that's not to say I don't think about, oh man, I should make a YouTube video about this. It's just you try and live life. And when I'm at the gym, I try and focus just on the gym. It's not to say that thoughts don't pop up like, oh, this is something you need to prepare later. But when I put time aside with my wife, I want to, like, we went on a big trip this weekend and last weekend. And if I find time, I'm just going to focus on our time together. And then when I get back, I'm going to have to say, sorry, my love, but Eric has to do some editing. And then, at least we had this time together that was really important. And now I can move on and work on this. But my honest answer is just wake up early in the morning and try and do more work. That's the only thing. If these days I go to bed at 10, and then I work. If I've got work to do with YouTube or preparing for classes, just try and wake up early at 5:30, or 6 a.m. and then try and do it while the world waits. That's actually that's my true answer is find extra time by cutting into your sleep. I'm not a mental health professional, but that's what I think. Okay. As for speaking practice, all depends on the context of the teaching and the classroom. Vancity, good to see you, by the way. If you ever teach in China, you will see totally different stories. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure things are different in different classrooms. Nudi Gaon. Hello. Do we need to play games with elementary students in the Hagwon? No books. Meet them once a week. Oof. Yeah, that's very tough. Like a lot of Hagwons. So Hagwons are the academies, the English academies. And it's really tough when you don't have a curriculum. It's maybe one of the most stressful things if you go into a classroom as a teacher and you don't have a curriculum, you don't have books. They just say, play with the kids. Oh, that's horrible. I've made many videos on activities that you can do with the kids. I would say, should you play kids with them or should you play games with them? Absolutely. But you want to structure it in between practice and learning. And you're going to want to, if you don't have a curriculum, at least find a book and use that as the base for your curriculum for what you're going to teach them. You're going to play games with them, but try and add some activities and games that are beneficial. Otherwise, they're not going to see any value in that. So try and find a book, base a curriculum on that. And in between, like the games you want to play with them, add some fun activities where they're also learning. One of my goals for June is to put out a curriculum for English learners, going over the different lessons and activities and the grammar and things. So that's what I would really like to do. The Adventures of Melody. Good morning. I am doing my practicum in essay, and FA are not happy with my pronunciation. My essay and FA are not happy. Okay. My pronunciation. I am not native. By how to teach new grade 2 to 3 students, 7 to 8 year olds. Hi. Good to see you, Adventures of Melody. With these young kids, you're going to want to make it fun and exciting. So when you do the vocabulary, you're going to want to have flashcards that you can use for that. and you want to play games with those flashcards, make it interesting for the students. So you can use the flashcards by flipping. You can show it to them. Um, you know, like I said before, any games, let them stand up and then read them. And then, you can play point-based games, or you can have like a ladder and you can say, okay, what is this one? And, there are so many games. I think I've made many videos on. Did I do videos on vocabulary? I think I did. Let me quickly find you my video on vocabulary games. I made it many years ago. I would really like to make more videos on helping teachers. It's just they don't really get the views. But vocabulary. It's a very old video. Wait, vocabulary. Here we go. 12 ESL vocabulary games. What's funny is I got this comment from someone. Okay, I'll just paste it here. Try it out. I got this comment from someone saying, that the TEFL sites are using some of your videos to teach. And I was like, oh, yeah, I kind of remember many years ago, some TEFL sites reached out to me and asked me, Eric, can we use your videos? And I'm like, as long as I get the views. And then your pronunciation. Yeah, guys, if you work at pronouncing certain words before you go into whatever lesson you're doing, because you've got to prepare the lessons, you've got the vocabulary that you have to teach the students, go onto Google and listen to what it sounds like, play it out and listen to it. That's what you got to do. I wish I had more lozenges. I need a lozenge. Yeah, I watched all your videos. Okay, sorry, you've already watched it. Thank you very much. Focus on topics with kids, songs, vocab, grammar. A great goal for teachers. Hello there, Brian Zabala. Good to see you. Eric, how was your weekend? What did you get up to? And happy Easter. Yes, everyone, happy Easter. Yeah, I hope you're spending a lovely time with your families. What did I get up to? Well, cherry blossoms must be beautiful in Daejeon. So the cherry blossoms are around for like 2 weeks, and you've got to make sure you go to the right places. But it's insanely busy all over Korea, wherever they bloom. Last week, I made the mistake of going to Gyeongju before the cherry blossoms bloomed. So that was kind of lame. So we missed that. And I'm kind of upset because I had other plans. And now this weekend, we went down south to probably the most popular tourist attraction or place or town in Korea for cherry blossoms, called Jinhae. Now, I've been to most cities in Korea, but I've never been to Jinhae. So we went down to Jinhae, met a friend last night. That was nice. And then this morning, we went into Jinhae. Crazy busy, but as soon as you get there, it's just everywhere. The whole city just full of cherry blossoms. It's amazing. So there's this kilometers long stream that you walk down. It's just cherry blossoms, and it's amazing. And then you go a little bit further, and you go to this old train track that also has these giant cherry blossom trees. And so we did that, and we wanted to go to a cafe, but I was getting tired, and then so many people, and then drove up, made it home. Beautiful. Check out my wife's Instagram. Do I have it somewhere? I should post it somewhere, but yeah, maybe in the future I'll share the link. But yeah, so amazing going there with her. Took so many photos. Okay. I was very good at speaking English, but it's been a long time. I'm learning Indonesian language and some other languages as well. Now I'm interested in improving my English level again. How to improve your English? Speak it. Find friends, find people to practice with, and speak, especially at your level where you've already learned it, but you want to improve. Let me find, by the way, guys, so I've got a second I made a second channel a long time ago for English learners. I'm going to share it with you now. And So I made so many videos, but they weren't very popular. And so I asked my wife, "Oh, Alina, won't you make a video for me?" Because I think I'm busy with the main channel, and I've got this other channel, but it needs videos. And so she was so gracious, and she made a video, even though she doesn't like it that much. She's very shy, and she thinks it's not good, but I think it's amazing. This is a video, her first video that we put out this week, and we're going to put out one a week. Go check it out. It's like 100 sentences for English learners. Go watch and subscribe. I think she's gonna burst down the door and tell me, Eric, don't put it out. It's out. It's too late. Check it out. Or watch the video, like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and we'll put out weekly videos of her teaching some English and sharing some tips and idioms, and grammar, and things like that. Do you recommend anything about new teaching approaches focused on vocabulary? New teaching approaches. Oh, what would that be? Just incorporating it within the work? Let me see. New teaching approaches to teaching vocab. Let's see. Fresh, modern approaches. Chunks, not single words. Okay, so teaching phrases, not isolated words. Interesting. Take a break, take a photo. Sure, that makes sense. It's really fun. You can, you give students a word, and with a partner, they're supposed to write down all the expressions. You can make it forward. So, of course, they're not going to know all of them, but you can do some examples with them that might inspire them to do that. So learning vocabulary through chunks instead of the words. The use it or lose it approach. Students must use new words within minutes. After teaching, immediately do pair questions, mini conversations, quick speak. I like that. So the words are repeated throughout the lesson. Yeah. Use it or lose it. See, I'm trying to learn Russian now, but I'm not very dedicated. And my wife's teaching me she's trying to teach me new vocabulary. And I guess one of the best ways of me learning that would be to immediately use it in a sentence, or use variations of it, or, just repeat it and recycle it over and over again until I know it. Personalization strategy. Connect vocabulary to students' real lives. Do you do this? When was the last time you? So students create their own sentences, and because it's personal meaning, it activates a stronger memory. I would say, okay, so if students created sentences, they have to use their own lives for it. That makes sense. Visual and story-based learning. Teach vocab through stories or situations. Sure. Yeah, you can use images or pictures, and students can once again use it. And of course, this isn't a new way, but using it in context. So important. It doesn't help you just teach them new vocabulary and it's like, hey, here's a new word. This is what it means. No, you're going to use it in context. You're going to help them. Oh, I'm very congested. Guys, this is not looking good for me exercising tomorrow. I'm not happy because I skipped Friday. And what did we do Friday? We skipped Friday and we went up north to Andong, which is another place because they had a cherry blossom festival. Did I eat good food? What didn't I like about it? Oh, yeah. The food was expensive and not good. Went to this Korean place and it was well reviewed. Got there and I was like, bad service, bad food, overpriced. Yeah. Anyway, retrieval practice. Okay, this is a nice one. Active recall. Don't just review, test the memory. What was the word for? Fill in the blank. Okay. Well, yeah, so they're going to practice retrieving the word. Spaced repetition. Review words over time, not just once. So you're going to recycle it later in the lesson. You're going to use it a lot. And if you can really create a good curriculum, you're going to review a lot of the grammar later, or the vocabulary. You can also do. You can do weekly reviews where you check in on the students to see what they remember. Word association and mind mapping. So you write down a word, and students have to write down all the words that are connected with it. If you write down travel, flight, tickets, traveling to other countries, or luggage, or hotel. So by creating all these different connections between the words and other words, you're going to remember it better too. Task-based vocabulary learning. Give students a task that requires the vocabulary. Okay, plan a trip, role ordering. Yeah, that's quite nice. So actually, we did it this week with the grammar. We did how much, how many. It's a beginner class. It's okay. And then I asked the students to create a conversation with their partner where one has to go say, hi. So I start the conversation. Hi. Can you pick up some groceries? Sure. What do we need? And then they have to ask, we need some broccoli. And then they're supposed to ask, how much broccoli do we need? We need 1 kilogram's worth of. We need Coke. How many bottles of Coke should we get? So yeah, you're going to do task-based vocabulary learning. Students have to create their own sentences, examples, and questions. I think what's important with vocabulary is also to work on high frequency first. So you're not going to start with the most difficult or vocabulary that I don't use a lot. Go with the ones that's more important. Okay. What else is happening? Oh, my throat. Eric, you should do a comparison video between Russian and English. It would be so cool. Well, my Russian is horrible. I'm just learning the same words over and over again. It's just hello and how are you, and then cute words for my wife. I have downloaded some more resources, but I'm so busy. I just haven't gotten into it. That's the excuse I'm going with. I guess I have to make some time for it. Here we have a new one. Oh, Brian says, thank you for your answer. Your videos have been very useful for me. I'm so happy to help. Thank you so much. Okay, and we've got some Chinese here, maybe. How to handle students who love to talk to each other. I think a lot of teachers go into it by, placing students, by seat placements, by placing students away from each other. Physically putting them in different places is important. This should be my last advice, but I'm going to say it now. I'm going to say, put them on task. If they have better things to talk about, if it's more fun talking and joking with each other about other things, that's what they're going to do. But if you can focus them on activities that they have to do and reminding them there's a place for everything, you're going to do that. Because remember, what is the real thing? Are they bored? Is it more fun for them to talk to each other? Is the task too difficult? And I think, you've got to address it before it becomes a problem. So you're going to talk to the students. You're going to tell them, listen, I know you want to talk to each other about this. So that social energy, you want to get them focused on the speaking activities, with pair work, group discussions, and role plays. You want. So I always tell my students, listen, only one student can talk at a time. So we have to give someone a chance to talk, and we have to listen. It's very important. You can use signals. I like to count down 3, 2, 1, and stop. And make it. Also, with ESL learners, you want to make English necessary. So if they are switching to their native language, you've got to remind them. So you can do role plays, you can do fill in the gap or answer the questions. Lots of problem solving. What I also do is controlling the energy by using time limits. I tell the students, listen, you've got 1 minute left. And I remind the students, if they're talking, it's like, oh, are you guys finished? Are you ready? Okay, you've got 1 minute left. Quickly finish. And then you've got 3 minutes left. So I like to do that. I walk around, I listen, I don't interrupt the students, unless they need some help, unless it's necessary. So the communication flows. But if they're off task, you've got to put them on task. When it's more about the students interacting, when I can see, okay, this is going well, the students are talking to each other, it's, I can walk around and I can check up on them and I can smile. Sometimes I'm just walking around and I'm shadow boxing because, they're already, it's not just about accuracy, it's about them communicating. But when it's about accuracy, the students are going to have to focus more. And I like to reset the class by, you've got these routines that you do. What I like to, I start my class with a clap, and then I start, and sometimes, 3, 2, 1, and so, but I tell them, okay, you've got a minute left, and then I count down and I clap. And, and I tell them it's disrespectful if they're speaking while I'm speaking, but within the activities, they're given a chance to be social. It would be so sad if you had like bright and cheery kids come into your classroom, and I'm not talking about just the ones that are difficult to control and that are rude, but if it would be sad if you had kids with social energy and they want to talk, they want to interact, and you break them down and you say, listen, you just sit down and you speak when spoken to, so rather channel that energy, I guess. If your students love talking, you've already won. It's just now your job is to turn that into English and to focus on the lesson. And if your lesson isn't engaging enough, then you've got to look at, how can I channel these wild horses, I guess. Oh, my throat's so sore. Hi, Dad. Good to see you. Fully agree. Alex. Oh, hi, Alex. Good to see you. My students forget previously taught material with only one session per week. I can't rely on in-class review. I tried asking them to read an article every day, but they still get terrible grades in the end. What can I do about this? Yeah, that's difficult, if you don't see your students enough. You ask them to read articles. I think there has to be a way to do that. That's a real problem. I think, instead of just, I think instead of just saying, let's talk about last week, you're going to give them they should make it easy the first time. You're going to say, okay, using the grammar from last week, I want you to tell me about, I want you to create a sentence. Make it a fun thing that every time they enter the class and you see them, so you say it's difficult to review it every week, you're going to review what you did in the last one very quickly by each student has to give a sentence or something, and then you give like an example. Oh yeah, guys, by the way, we reviewed this. Let's practice it one more time. And everyone has to give something. I think, quick feedback. Quick reviews are quite good. Um, yeah, you have to add accountability somehow. Right now the students can ignore the work. They're like, yeah, I just see you once a week. But randomly call the students to share and collect. They should participate and find a way to do that. I'll think about some more ways. It's a very good question. Thank you, QT Dan. Continue from my previous comment. Because I live in Indonesia, married to an Indonesian, and thinking about starting a teaching career here, but speaking level has dropped a little bit. Now thinking too. Oh yeah. I think just simplify it for yourself. So you say you've got a degree and everything's good, but you're worried about yourself. No, focus on the students. Nobody cares about your ability to get results, and for the students to learn. That's what's important. So if you've got a good book, a good curriculum, and you've got good ways of teaching them, it matters more than your ability. If you've got a great teacher who's not great at English, it doesn't mean they're a poor teacher. I would take a great teacher but a poor English speaker over a great English speaker but a poor teacher. If you guys know what I mean. Yeah. So yeah, just focus on the students. It's as an Indonesian, English is not spoken much and hard to practice, but I'm trying my best now. I'm taking my career seriously. Focus on the teaching. Don't worry about the English. Prepare for your lessons, and by preparing for your lessons with the vocabulary and the grammar, you will improve with the pronunciation and the speaking activities. But if you go into it thinking, well, it's just all about my own ability, your ability doesn't matter. Then it matters. But what's more important is how you're going to teach your students. So build a good curriculum, find ways to teach them better. Okay. Thank you for sharing. I hope I helped. They send me notes every day about what they read. I think what I wanted to ask is, what can I do to encourage them to review when it's not class time? Yeah, I think I understand what you mean, Dan. So you're getting them to send you notes every day and what they're reading. So you're really trying to, get them to work harder at it. It's just reviews and what they read, and it just sounds like it's a motivational problem of trying to get them to do something they're not enjoying. So if you can make it fun for them, maybe gamifying it, or no, I don't know how you would gamify it, but making it more practical or making it more fun or interesting. I think that's the goal, because it sounds like, yeah, they're like, oh, we'll just send you the reviews, and they just automatically do it. And you might want to watch out for pushing them too hard, too much. Although that's not that's not really the Asian way. Like, a lot of people prefer being pushed very hard. I don't know. It just sounds like they lack a bit of motivation, because they're sending you things, but it doesn't sound like it's showing up in their grades. Is that it? How to teach young learners? Actually, yeah, motivation. All they see is exam. Yeah, no, that's really difficult. Teaching to the test, and then the parents and the students expect high rewards, and they're putting in lots of time and effort. Yeah, it's difficult. Mm, well, if teaching to the test is the motivation, yeah, so you've got lots of practice tests and things that they have to learn, and make sure that it covers whatever they might see in a test, and use test as examples. So, I said gamify before, but how about testify? Um, Testify it. So let's say you see them once a week, and then, well, let's say you've got like an example test with, like, the different sections or different parts. Say, okay, well, this question actually came you want to cover the whole test. Let's say you create a test of 20 questions, and each week will be one of those tests, and then at the end of the 2 months, or like the end of the month, you've completed and you've gone through the test together. I don't know, something like that, if that makes sense. So if the students are practicing tests, or they're practicing reading material or reviewing certain things, grade them on it, so if they send you like their reviews and you see them in class, start showing them how many points you would give for the review, or for whatever their result is. I don't know, it's just an idea. But they can crack the text without developing real language. No, they can't. It's a big problem all around Asia. Testify to justify. I like that. Justified. What's the time? Okay, guys, we're almost finished. By the way, I will do another live stream next week, but it's going to be a special live stream. A company asked me to do a presentation to show, or to do a live stream using a presentation tool. It's called Slidea. It's called Slidea, and it's basically like PowerPoint, but people can scan a QR code and they can participate by asking questions, by giving answers, so it's like an interactive presentation. And so, what kind of topics would you like me to create a PowerPoint slide about? Because I think I'll also post it in the channel. I'll ask people, okay, guys, give me some ideas. What do you want to do? Sorry, Dan. It's a question. I know you're thinking about it, and it's good that you're thinking of ideas. Yeah, guys. I will. So I'll ask people what topics they would see, broad topics, not just, my student mispronounces edible. Edible. My student mispronounces edible. No. So broad topics, and I'll create a PowerPoint about it. And next week, you can join, you can scan the QR code, and you can participate with the presentation. I think that'll be fun. So, everyone think about it. 1 hour done. It's been a while, but thanks, guys. I kind of enjoy this. I'm sorry I sound a bit unwell, but I think I'm coming down with something. Anyway, everyone, thank you so much for joining. Peace. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.